Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we are coming back after being off school for snow. Yes, here in Austin, Texas, believe it or not, it does snow and it doesn't take very much to cancel school. But with that, today is very much a get back into it kind of day, shift some things around, hopefully start to feel organized again, but I'm gonna bring you along with me. So without further ado, let's talk about what's happened over the last few days. So first of all, it is currently Wednesday, January, hold on, I can do this, 28th. I know that because it's Billy's dad's birthday, but if you saw my last vlog, which was a Sunday reset vlog, then you already know that they canceled school on Monday due to the snow and ice that came through with this big winter storm. But we actually ended up having school canceled on Tuesday as well, mostly because the roads were still a mess. Again, here, they don't really pre-treat the roads. They don't have the capability to plow, and everything that got iced over didn't melt on Monday because the temperature stayed above freezing. Anything that maybe did melt a little bit in the sun just refroze overnight. So out of precaution, they canceled school on Tuesday as well. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed my 2 snow days. Unexpectedly, Billy ended up getting off of work too. Originally, he thought he just had to work remotely, but then he realized he was actually off work. It was funny because on, what day was it? Monday, I guess it was. I had gotten up and gone to the gym, and while I was there, Billy called me. He's like, hey, I feel really kind of dumb, but I'm actually off work. He was sitting there like waiting for other people to log on, and no one logged on, and then he read it more carefully and he's like, oh, we're like off work. But because of that, we were able just to have like 2 chill days together. He actually had some work to do because in addition to his main job, he does some political consulting on the side for campaigns, and he had to get stuff done for that.
We must never cede control of the motherland.
So while he worked on campaign stuff, I did a little bit of planning. My one-team teacher always does the social studies plans, which she came in yesterday and dropped off a big pile of stuff that I need to go through. But I have never taught Texas history before, so whenever she sends over a new unit, I kind of go through it as if I'm a student in order to teach myself. So I did a little bit of that, and I also did some math planning yesterday. I got the week of Valentine's Day completely planned. So the next 2 weeks are done, which is a good feeling. And I tried to relax. You may or may not be able to hear it in my voice, but I mentioned on Sunday that I wasn't feeling well, and it's gotten a little bit worse over the past 2 days. I'm still trying to convince myself that I'm fine, but I'm just congested, a little bit of a cough. Right now, the biggest thing is my head is just so much pressure and hurts, but it's fine. We're gonna persevere. I don't know if they actually cleaned the desks before I left, because I mentioned we've had a lot of illness in my class and my switch teacher's class. So when my students come in this morning, I'm gonna have a wet wipe on their desk so that they can sanitize, and we're just gonna keep doing that until everyone is hopefully healthy again. But let's talk about today and this week, because now we are back in school mode. Obviously, when you get school canceled for inclement weather or whatever the reason, that means having to shift things around. And that's why I said today is kind of a get my life back in order day, because I feel as if I just woke up from a nap and I'm like, what day is it? I know it's Wednesday. I know it's January 28th, but it's a matter of like getting back into the swing of things. We have so much going on right now. We have interim makeups because last week our students took their math and reading interim, which is kind of like a practice test for STAR, on Wednesday and Friday, but we had a lot of students absent. So those makeups are happening this week. Plus there is tag testing happening. So my tag students who usually leave to go to tag are working asynchronously, while students who are getting tested for tag are gone at various points during the day. So I need to refresh myself on that schedule. And then I also had to shift around my lesson plans. Now, thankfully, because of the way that I plan, that's very easy to do. So let me show you what that looks like. So when I plan, I create what I call a unit overview. I've actually done a vlog all about this, and I have a free template. So I will link the video for you, and then from there you can get the template. But by planning this way, it makes it really easy to shift things around. As you can see, I just have the unit title up at the top. I'll also link any important information, like we have a document that goes through when we give all of our assessments for the year. So I have that linked up at the top. Then for each day, I list out the lesson, and you'll notice it's hyperlinked. This actually links to the slides, and it links to that specific day of slides. I have the date I'm gonna teach the lesson, an overview of basically what that lesson covers. Status means like, is it planned or not? So if you click the drop down, I have need to plan, in progress, and then ready. I list out any material, so that way, if I plan in advance, the day of, I may not remember exactly what it is that I'm doing, but I've got a nice list of things that I will need, including any links, and then any notes. So we've been alternating like these multiplication drills as well as fluency flight, depending on the day of the week. So I always start with that note, and then any little reminders of things or assignments that I need to schedule on Google Classroom. So with that, if we scroll down, basically I just added 2 rows and I put inclement weather day, and then I just shifted the date. So the only thing I had to change was this column right here, and it worked out because I was working on planning ahead. I was able to kind of shift some things around as needed and make adjustments, kind of combine lessons to still stay on track. And usually the very first thing I do is I look at the end of unit test, and I look at our testing window, and we always try to take the test right when the testing window opens, because we want to build in as much extra time to review for the STAR test as possible. So I kind of start there and then work backwards with my dates, but you'll notice like these 2 lessons are going to get combined in order to make up for those inclement weather days, because even though we were off school, those like testing windows and things didn't necessarily shift. So I still want to stay on track for that. Now, typically we do a science investigation on Mondays, but because we were off on Monday and Tuesday, we are doing our next science investigation today. Last week, I already pulled out some of the materials. We are essentially making stream tables in order to model weathering, erosion, and deposition. You may remember last week we did a mystery science lesson where we modeled weathering using sugar cubes that my students shook up, and they saw all the pieces breaking down and the cubes becoming more rounded over time, the more shakes that they did. So that was a good introduction to weathering, and this will kind of build on that knowledge, and we'll talk about erosion and deposition. And I remember last year, this investigation, it was very messy, kind of a pain to set up, but it was a fantastic model and my students really enjoyed it. So I'm trying to keep that mind frame, but I need to finish getting that set up. Okay, that actually wasn't as bad to set up as I was making it out to be in my head. Essentially, each group will have a paint tray. They're gonna prop it up using some books so that it is angled, and then they will get a cup that has some sand and little pebbles. Now, because I have to do this with both classes, this is for the morning class. I will have to then make new cups with the sand and pebbles for the afternoon, but it works out because I'm taking some students for a lunch bunch today, so while I am in my room during lunch, I will get that ready to go. When they do the investigation, they are going to take their cup with the sand and rocks, and they're gonna spread it out on the top of the stream table. From there, they're gonna model weathering and erosion and deposition 3 different ways. They're gonna first use a spray bottle to simulate rain, so they're gonna spray water on it. That will show water weathering. They have a drinking straw that they will use to produce wind, and then they also are going to use ice. Now, I had pulled out my little ice cube tray, but obviously with us being off of school, I had to do something a little different. Knowing that I was gonna be doing the science investigation today, I did prep ice cubes over the long weekend, and I did it so that there is enough for each student to have their own ice cube. So I have it divided into 2 containers. I'm gonna put these into the freezer in our lounge, and then before each science class, I will just grab it out so that they hopefully stay solid, at least through the end of the investigation. So I can check off prep science investigation from my list. Next is submitting grades. So we submit, we call them IPR, it stands for Interim Progress Report grades, twice prior to the actual report card grades. Typically they are due on a Tuesday. We were off school yesterday. I don't know if that date has been shifted, like are they now due on Thursday? I don't know, but regardless, thankfully, I always stay up to date on my grades, so I'm gonna go ahead and submit those. I need to put away the papers and things that my team teacher dropped off, and then just look over my plans for the day, make sure that I am ready. But otherwise, hopefully we're in a good place, and then we'll catch up again after school. Checking in at the end of the day just to show you the aftermath of the investigation. This is probably one of the messier investigations we do all year. I mean, this group did a phenomenal job, but I don't blame these groups for not getting their bins more cleaned out because we were very crunched for time at the end. So they did the best that they could. Also, I will just say we have a little beach Emerson, as I like to call it, happening over here by the trash can. But again, not their fault, because by the time they went to dump their sand, the morning class had already dumped theirs, plus I had a lunch bunch, so we had a bunch of like lunch trash in there, and we had some overflow, some spillage, but I had students who were like using paper towels to try to pick up as much of it as they could. So all things considered, I am grateful for my students and what they did to try to keep it as mess-free as possible. Okay, it is about 4 o'clock. I am just getting back to my classroom because we had a staff meeting after school for about an hour. But the good news is I don't have to stay late because I'm all lesson planned. I'm all caught up on grading. Speaking of which, I was able to get a lot of makeup work done today for students because there were so many absences last week. I'm not kidding. I had a stack of papers like an inch thick of all of the various things that I had to either pass out to students, like homework assignments, things to glue in their notebooks, assignments to get done. But I would say we processed about 80% of it today, which is really good. It's much easier to track down 1 or 2 students versus like 10. So we made progress, yay. We got the science investigation done, which means we can move on to some of the less messy elements that go with it, like taking notes, and we're gonna watch a Generation Genius video, do a graded assignment that goes with that. But it was a good, just get back into the flow of things kind of day. I do need to put away this box of rulers. We ended up having indoor recess because there was still ice outside and we didn't want to risk any students slipping, so we stayed in. Speaking of ice, I thoroughly enjoyed hearing about my students' long weekend and what they did in the snow. They built little mini snowmen, and a lot of them said they went sledding. And I'm like, okay, what did you use to go sledding? Because a majority of people that live here don't have, you know, snow attire or sleds because we just don't get it often enough. And a lot of them either used cardboard, which I thought was very creative. One kid said they used like a baking sheet and another kid used like a surfboard, someone else used a boogie board, and I just found that so entertaining. So it felt good to be back in my room with my students. I ended up twinning with one of my students today who also had a black and white striped sweater. And so I was able to take a picture and send it to their family. And like, those are the little moments that I really missed. So overall, it was a good day. That being said, I need to get to the gym, and I am doing basically the training session I would do tomorrow, I'm doing today, so that tomorrow after school, I can go straight home because I am baking a cake.
He only sings the high harmony to Happy Birthday.
I think I mentioned earlier that today is Billy's dad's birthday. We are celebrating him on Friday. So we're gonna go out to dinner. It's gonna be Billy's dad, me, Billy, and then his cousin who lives nearby is gonna join us. And then what Billy's dad doesn't know is Billy's sister, who lives back in Maryland, is actually flying in on Friday, and we're gonna surprise him at dinner. So she's gonna be at the restaurant, which I think will be a blast. And I decided to make a cake so that way we could eat dinner at the restaurant and then come back to our house for some family time. And my father-in-law loves two main kinds of cakes. German chocolate cake, which I have made him before, and coconut cake, which I've not made him. So we're doing coconut cake this time, and I'm gonna bake that tomorrow so that I don't have to worry about it Friday, because I'm not gonna have time after school to bake a cake prior to dinner. That being said, if you enjoyed this vlog, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.